Hello, bonjour, goeiedag. This is the Trini-Dutchman. I thought I would do a little vlog here today to bring some humor to you, maybe perhaps a smile, and to tell you a little life story, as I have quite a bit of life experience despite my relatively young age. I don't know, maybe some people might say I'm old, but I mean, look at me, I don't look old. Okay, I'm trying to make you laugh. Anyways, a funny story that I have here for you is to not really take life so seriously and to kind of be dealt with the hands that you get, because you can't always control what happens. So my little funny anecdote here for you is I was supposed to take a trip to Amsterdam, and I found a cheap ticket flying out of the JFK airport, JFK in New York City, to fly to Amsterdam with a particular airline. And I was going to drive, or I actually did, I drove from Ottawa, this was a couple of years ago, I drove from Ottawa all the way to New York City, and I booked the ticket at 12:01 a.m. Now the thing is, and I should have realized this, is that if you book a ticket at 12:01 a.m. and you want to leave on a certain date, you actually should be booking it for the day before to get that day. Well, technically that day, but you know what I mean. Like, you kind of understand what I'm trying to say, is that it's the day before, but the day of. So I called the call center, everything was good to go, everything was Gucci, and I was calling the call center, and I was in Albany driving through, calling the call center, and they said no problem. I made it to Rochester, all that other good stuff, everything was good to go. Syracuse on my way down, and so anyways, I get into JFK airport, I parked the car, everything was good to go, or at least so I thought. I get up to the ticket wicket, I show my ticket. The guy was sitting back, absolutely relaxed in his chair, and he says to me, "Sir, I'm really sorry, but that ticket expired 24 hours ago." So I looked at him. I was completely stupefied. I was incredulous, and I was quite desperate, actually, because I had just driven 10 hours to get to the airport to find out only that my ticket was no longer valid. And he said I was not getting on that plane, and he looked like he couldn't really give a shit. Excuse my language, but he really did not care about my situation, that I told him that I'd driven 10 hours. So anyways, I pleaded with him, I begged him, I asked him, he said, "You have to pay $500 US. Nothing was budging. He wasn't letting me on that plane. So what I decided to do then is I called the 1-800 number as he had requested to do for the airline. That also didn't work. And I thought to myself, okay, well, what do I do? I'm here at the airport. I mean, I could get really angry. Some people might do that. I thought about it. I'm like, okay, but if I get angry here, I'm in a foreign country, I'm in the United States of America as a Canadian, and I would probably either A, get arrested, security would come for me, I could end up in a foreign jail, or I would get kicked out of the airport, I could be banned. I have no idea what would happen. I calmed myself down, got out of the airport, and I had this crazy idea, outlandish idea, to drive all the way back to Montreal. And so I got out of there, and I was going to drive all the way from New York City all the way back to Montreal, and I think I had driven maybe an hour, and I was extremely exhausted. I made it up to Yonkers, hour and a half, and I grabbed a hotel and I fell asleep. I decided in life, what I decided to do is, hey, I didn't get my trip to the Netherlands, but what I did when I woke up the next morning is I thought I'd make a trip through upstate New York. And that's what I did. I took 16 hours to get from basically Yonkers to Montreal. It's like a 5-hour drive. And in that, I stopped at probably almost every single town you could think of in New York State. I saw the Capitol, I took some photography. My photos are for sale, by the way, if you're interested in seeing some of those pictures of New York State. I had an awesome time, and I got to meet people that I would have otherwise not met. Was it the trip to the Netherlands? No, but New York State was actually pretty cool. So taking lemons, trying to make lemonade, 16 hours, and I also have another really funny anecdote. I get to the Catskill Mountains, I think that's what they're called, please correct me if I'm wrong, just before the Canadian border, maybe about an hour and a half before the province of Quebec. And I get into this convenience store, and there's this young lady, this blonde girl, probably about 20 years old, and we started chatting back and forth, and I started telling her about Canada and how I'm Canadian and all this other kind of stuff. And then I started telling her about how in 1976, my country, one of the coldest countries out there, had a Summer Olympics, and she had no idea what I was talking about. I get passionate about these things. So anyways, I just want to tell you a little funny story. I drove all the way to New York City, and the guy just completely didn't care, and I tried to make lemon out of lemonade because there was nothing I could do. So hope that brings a smile to your face. I love you all. I'm thankful to all your support. And if you want to write me, je parle français en ik spreek Nederlands. Bisous, bisous, fijne dag. And you are loved from the Trini-Dutchman.